JDub is back at it, here to give everybody another predictions video, specifically my predictions for the 2020 Major League Baseball postseason, who I think will make the playoffs, and my eventual World Series champion for 2020. As many of you know, it's going to be a very different season in Major League Baseball. First of all, no fans in the stands, 60-game schedule. The DH will be in both leagues, which I'm happy for because I think the game has changed enough where the DH should have been in both leagues. Either no DH or both leagues. It just, as a baseball purist too, you can always double switch the guy that really can't hit at the end of the game and put in a guy that can hit. That's what you can do with it. It's still available. You just can't mix and match pitchers and all that, So I'm very happy about that, and especially with the collective bargaining agreement expiring after this year, I bet they put DH, both leagues, or for the National League, in a new one, and they'll probably strike a little bit, but I think we won't see pitchers bat again, unless, of course, Mad Bum is a DH for the Diamondbacks, which obviously could happen, and probably will, actually, but that's one thing I like. And then you're going to have 16 playoff teams, 8 in each league, and that's going to be broken down by your top 3 division winners, all the second place teams, so that's 6 right there, and then 2 wild card teams, the next best 2 records. I think they're called wild card teams. I could be wrong, though. I haven't heard the term wild card in a while, so maybe they changed that wording, too. So, should be interesting. And then the teams, the 60 games that they play, will all be against the divisions in their respective place in the United States. So, like the Cubs, for example, will play all the teams in the NL Central and all the teams in the AL Central to kind of keep them in one place. So, I'm excited. It's going to be different, and I think it's going to make the game more entertaining. Just my opinion. So let's talk about who I predict to make the playoffs. We'll start off in the American League. I'll predict the wild cards first. I think the Texas Rangers will be one of the wild cards. They traded for Corey Kluber. I think he's going to be a good addition, and assuming he's mostly healthy. And they also signed Kyle Gibson, who I think is an under-the-radar pitcher that can win you some games and pitch very good too. So I think the Rangers are going to be a wild card team. Their lineup, yeah, it's good. It could be better, yes, but I think it's adequate enough where it will. They'll make the wild card, especially with 8 teams from each league making it. They should be one of them. My other wild card choice is going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. I would have went with the Red Sox, but they got so many injuries and they lost Mookie Betts. Well, they traded Mookie Betts away. There's no Chris Sale, so J.D. Martinez is really going to have to do a lot this season. I don't see the Red Sox making the playoffs. In fact, they might have the worst record. Well, I guess that's a bold statement. They'll probably have the 3rd worst record in baseball. So, but the Rays, I think their team, they have a good team. Does anything wow you? Like, are they amazing? Is their lineup crazy? No, but it's just good enough and solid enough where I think they'll obviously make the playoffs. They got Jose Martinez from the Cardinals. They also got Manuel Margot and Hunter Renfroe from the Padres. I think that'll make the lineup better. And then their pitching is pretty solid. Nothing crazy, but adequate pitchers that will get the job done, like Charlie Morton. And I think that they're entire glass now from the Pirates that they got from the Chris Archer deal. I think they're going to be good. So they're going to be a playoff team. My pick is the wild card, though. And then the teams that I think will finish in second place in the division in the American League, we'll start with the AL West. The Anaheim Angels, they got Anthony Rendon to go with a nice lineup. You got Shohei Ohtani, Pujols, who's a little old, Trout. You've got Justin Upton still. And then you have mainly role players. I think their lineup's just good enough, although I would have tried to get a left-handed bat to go in the middle of the order, unless you just call Ohtani that, but I don't think he's that big bat. He's an adequate bat, but I would try to get a left-handed bat to make the lineup a little bit more, righty, lefty, instead of right, left, left. So that's my pick. And who knows what kind of season Tommy La Stella will have, because he went off last year until he got hurt. So the Angels will definitely be a wild card team. Pitching is going to be their issue, and a left-handed bat. So if they can get a starter and a left-handed bat, power bat, big-time bat, they might be legit going after the division possibly. My AL Central team is the White Sox. I think they're a good young team. Their pitching is going to come together and be really good. Lopez and Giolito, and then you've got the young players and a couple veterans. I think they should just have enough to make the playoffs by winning or finishing in second place, and they could potentially win the division. I don't think that's going to happen, but they could. It can happen. But I think Eloy Jimenez and well, yeah, they should do it. I'm pretty sure of that. So, White Sox, second place in the AL Central. And then for the AL East, this is a surprising one. A lot of people would pick the Rays. I'm picking the Toronto Blue Jays. I just like their young players, and I think they're going to turn some heads this year. I like the acquisition, or the signing, I should say, of Hyun-Jin Ryu. He was a really good pitcher last year. They need pitching, so he'll help out with that. And then their young players like Calvin Biggio and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette should be better this year, and I think that's going to make them second place in the AL East. I could be wrong, but I don't see the Red Sox making the playoffs. I don't see the Orioles making the playoffs. And I think the Rays or the Blue Jays will be the wild card. And I'm going with the Blue Jays because I like their lineup better. Pitching-wise, there's some question marks, but I think their lineup is just good enough to win or to finish in second. And then, of course, you have the division winners. I'm not necessarily going to give these in order who I think is going to have a better record or not, but I think for the AL West, you got to pick the Houston Astros. Even though they cheated, they're coming back with a pretty solid team. You've got a whole season with Zach Greinke. He's going to become very important now, especially with Garrett Cole signing with the Yankees in the offseason. And Justin Verlander's hurt, and who knows if he'll play the rest of the year or not. They said he was going to be out, and he's saying, wait, so who knows? But I think the Astros should be good. And their lineup is pretty solid. You've got Springer. You'll bring back Alvarez. You've got Altuve, Carrera, Gurriel. They should be definitely the winner of the AL East. I would be shocked if they did not win the AL East. And then my team that I think will finish first in the AL Central would be the Minnesota Twins. The Twins made a lot of moves in the offseason, like a lot. Like more than a lot of teams have made, and I think that's going to benefit them a lot because they got Josh Donaldson, which was out of nowhere, by the way. I don't think anybody saw Josh Donaldson going to the Twins. And then they got some pitching like Rich Hill and Homer Bailey to go with the Barreros and the guys that they already have. Their lineup was already solid, and you're going to add Josh Donaldson to that lineup. I mean, I would be shocked if the Twins didn't win the Central Division. I mean, when you put out, you're going to have Garver, catching, and then Donaldson, Polanco, Miguel Sano in the infield, Buxton, Marwin Gonzalez, Kepler, Rosario in the outfield, and then you still have Nelson Cruz. Their lineup is going to mash some home runs. Pitching will be the concern. They have just enough, though, and I think they added enough where they'll be good, and they should win the Central Division and possibly play in the ALCS against the Yankees or the Stros. So, and then, of course, that spoils my winner for the AL East. I'm sure everybody's predicting this team to win the AL East this year, and that's the New York Yankees. I mean, they got Garrett Cole in the offseason. Their weak spot was pitching, and now you have Garrett Cole. Their lineup, Judge, Stanton, everybody's healthy. A little bit more right-handed, like the who was it that I was complaining about? Like the Anaheim Angels, but I think they'll be fine. The Yankees should win the division and go far in the playoffs. Let's talk about the National League. My pick for the National League wild card, for one of them is from the NL West, and that would be the San Diego Padres, another team that has decent pitching, young players. I think Fernando Tatis is going to be legit, and he was really good last year. So if he stays healthy, he could really put up big numbers this year. And then, of course, Manny Machado is going to be awesome. Eric Hosmer, he should be consistent. Hit 250, 60, 70, and hit 15, 20 home runs. So I do predict the Padres to be in the playoffs, surprisingly. A lot of people won't say that. And I think the Phillies will make the playoffs, too. I know they got some injury concerns, but I think their lineup is decent enough, with Realmuto, Muto, Bryce Harper, Andrew McCutchen, Rhys Hoskins. Those guys should be good. You add the young players that they have, and the pitching staff is going to be the concern this year, but I think the Phillies will do it and at least make the wild card, if not be second place in the division. And speaking of second place teams, for the West, I picked the Diamondbacks. They got Mad Bum. They have a really nice lineup of players that will produce, and I'm really a fan of Ketel Marte. He had an amazing year last year, and he might even be better this year. For the NL Central, I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Reds. I know the Reds made a lot of moves in the offseason, and a lot of people would pick them to win the Central Division. I'm not picking them to win the Central, but I am picking them to make the playoffs, simply because their lineup is pretty deadly. With the full season of Trevor Bauer, that's really going to help them out. I wish the Cubs would have got Trevor Bauer. Spoiler alert, I wonder who I picked to win the Central. I think Wade Miley as a 5 for the Reds is going to be good. Sonny Gray is going to be good. Pedro Strope's on there now. And then you've got a lineup with Joey Votto and Suarez. And you've got Shogo Akiyama and Arcidius Aquino when he gets called back up. And then you've got Nick Castellanos. And then you've got Nick Senzel, who may or may not do anything. I mean, they're loaded. They could probably make a trade and get another pitcher in. Because I think they're pretty good at pitching, though. But maybe one more guy that's like a number 3 on the team would help out. But the Reds definitely will be second place in the Central, if not first. And then the other team that I think is going to be second place is the defending World Series champion, Washington Nationals. As long as Juan Soto comes back and Strasburg and Scherzer carry the team, I think they're going to be just great. They added, bear with me just a second here, they added somebody at first base that I think was a great pickup. Oh, Eric Thames, that's who it was. Thames should be great, especially if he plays full-time. I like that signing by the Reds. Or not the Reds. The Nationals. And I think that's definitely making them win the division. Finish in second place, or possibly win the division. In the NL Central, I've already alluded to it. The team that I think will win the division is my Chicago Cubs. I mean, they've got some holes. They look like they have some holes. But I like their players. They have a very deep lineup. And I said this before. If Ian Happ can really hit and play, that really expands their lineup. With, Contreras is looking good. Schwarber's looking good. Rizzo. Now, Bryant hasn't looked good so far in the leadoff position, but he'll come around. And then you've got, Baez. He's still, light it up a little bit. I really think the Cubs are going to do good. They got guys that can play the DH like Kipnis, Victor Caratini. Maybe they'll bring in some guys from the other players that like Brendan Davis possibly could play this year. I just think the Cubs have enough to win the division. Yeah, their pitching is a little suspect. You got Kyle Hendricks, who's looked good already. Chatwood looked good today. And Darvish is a question mark. Lester is a question mark. Jose Quintana is hurt, but he'll be back, I think, in a month or a month and a half. And then you're going to have Alec Mills fill in, who Alec Mills is good. I think their bullpen's going to be the big key. If Craig Kimbrell can have a great year, which I'm a big Craig Kimbrell fan. I've liked him since he entered the league. I think that's the key. If Kimbrell can be decent and, replicate what he did in his last year in Boston in the regular season, the Cubs will be all right. And I really am predicting them to win the NL Central, and a lot of people are not. In fact, some people say the Cubs won't even make the playoffs. I look at the other teams in the Central, and the Cubs are a lot better. and than them. The Reds, I think, are the only team that will give them a run for their money. And that's my opinion. For the NL West, I'm picking the Dodgers. No brainer there. Mookie Betts is going to be in that lineup now. You've already got Bellinger. You've already got Justin Turner. You've already got Max Muncy. Chris Taylor. They're loaded offensively. Pitching-wise, you've got Kershaw. You lost David Price now. You still have... the Dodgers actually probably need another pitcher, but they have plenty of assets to go get another pitcher, and they probably will. I'm sure they'll be calling the Pirates up. They still have Walker Buehler. He's going to be great for them. I don't know. Yeah, they might need another pitcher. They did get, actually, Alex Wood, on the contract that they got him on, he could be a diamond in the rough. But that lineup, man, with Muncy and Corey Seager and Justin Turner and Bellinger, Betts, maybe Jock Peterson, A.J. Pollock, or Kike Hernandez, they should be fine. They're going to win the West. It's a no-brainer. And then my team to win the NL East, no surprise here, the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are another team that is really loaded. I do like their lineup. They have Matt Adams in. They've got Freddie Freeman. They've got Dansby Swanson, Ozzie Albies. Their outfield, you've got Acuna. You've got Adam Duvall. You've got Encarte, Miguel Ozuna. You've got Austin Riley. They're pretty deep hitting-wise. Pitching, you've got... they could probably use a pitcher. That's going to probably be their toughest area is pitching, but I think they're going to do it. I mean, they got Mark Melancon and Will Smith in the offseason. They're both hurt right now. Cole Hamels, he's hurt. So once they get healthy, watch out for the Braves. So those are my predictions as far as who's going to make the playoffs. Now, who do I think will get to the World Series? Well, for the National League, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And for the American League, I'm going to go with the New York Yankees. And I am going to pick the Dodgers to win the World Series. I think it'll either be the Yankees or the Dodgers. The Dodgers are due. I don't necessarily like them, but, I mean, that lineup is very deep. And, if they acquire a pitcher or two, they're going to be very tough to beat now, and especially in the future when they get David Price back. So, hope everybody enjoyed this. I know I kind of rambled on at points. If you're a baseball fan and you like this, though, smash that like button for me. You could share it with any other baseball fans that you know of. Don't forget to comment your thoughts, your predictions. Give me what you have to say because I'm doing all the talking here. So anything that you want to predict for the season, make sure you do that. And last but not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your support, and be a part of something special. And as many of you know, JDev will return.